video itu.
Bunga melati di atas bulan dibawa masuk ke dalam dewan. Cantik berseri Raja Sehari, tapi sayang belum cukup usia diri. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to everyone.
Today we may look like we are celebrating a traditional Malay wedding. We see the beautiful bride, the proud groom, and the joy in the air. Weddings in our culture are special moments, full of blessings, love, and new beginnings.
But can you imagine if I told you the bride is only 12 years old? What if behind her makeup and dress, she's scared, confused, and not ready for this life? This is not a celebration. This is a child marriage.
In many countries around the world, including Malaysia, some children, especially girls, are forced into marriage at a very young age. They lose their chance to grow up, to finish school, and to chase their dreams. Today, our group is here to talk about this issue. We want to raise awareness, not to go against culture, but to protect our children.
Because every child deserves a childhood, not a wedding before they are ready. With that, we would like to invite today's speaker, Dr. Rati, MA High Class, and also Dr. Reed, for our contemporary analysis presentation entitled Child Marriage.
To our beloved lecturer, Dr. Maslino, and beloved classmates, I'm Rati, representing Group 1, and today we'll be presenting on a very critical and deeply personal topic, which is child marriage. Child marriage is not just a cultural concern, it's a public health crisis. It denies children the right to grow, learn and thrive. It affects their mental health, reproductive rights and future economic independence. Let's now explore what child marriage looks like, why it happens and how it impacts individuals, families and the entire health system. And these are our Group 1 members. Before we go further, let's take a moment to watch 2 short videos that give us a real glimpse into the world of child marriage, beyond the data, beyond the definitions. Let's watch together.
The world of course married as children. What is the significance of this report by UNICEF regarding marriage?
We do talk about girls and we need to, but when it comes to boys, no one's ever done this research before, and it's a very, very large number. It means that in the same way that girls are losing that childhood, they're losing that chance to get an education, to be a good mum, boys are having their childhood stolen. Invariably they become husbands, they become dads, and that tends to follow. And you've got 16 and 17-year-olds who are still children, suddenly trying to look after a family. So the significance is you not only steal their childhood, but invariably they don't have the skills, they left school, they can't go on to get the kind of work that they look for, and they get into the type of labour and cheap employment that is never going to suit them, that will invariably lead them to a life of poverty, perpetuates their poverty for a whole group of society who hopefully we're going to look after a family.
So we're looking at the 17, 18, 15-year-olds and
Now let's begin by defining what we mean by child marriage. According to UNICEF, child marriage is any formal or informal union involving a child under the age of 18, whether to an adult or another child. It doesn't matter if the marriage is officially registered or culturally recognized. The fact is, children lack the legal and emotional capacity to give full informed consent, and that makes it a violation of their rights. Child marriage is more than a cultural practice. It's a major barrier to health education and basic human rights. It severely limits the child's ability to reach their full potential and exposes them to lifelong harm, from early pregnancy complications to domestic violence, poverty, and as well as mental trauma. Globally, the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 5.3, aim to eliminate child marriage by 2030. But to achieve that, we must understand why it continues and how to break the cycle. Well, child marriage is a global issue. Now let's look at the bigger picture. Globally, over 640 million women alive today were married as children. Every year, 12 million girls still become childbirths. The highest rates are in South Asia at 45%, followed by Sub-Saharan Africa and East Asia Pacific. But it's not just girls. 150 million boys are also married before the age of 18. Now let's zoom into Malaysia. In 2018 alone, there were 1,856 cases of child marriage. Out of these, 90% involved girls, highlighting a serious gender imbalance. The data shows that Sabah State had the highest number of Muslim child marriages, while Pahang State recorded the most among non-Muslims. It's important to note that this isn't limited to one group. Child marriage actually affects every race, religion, and region in the country. Now, even the recent years, the numbers remain worrying. In 2021, there were 1,086 reported child marriages in Malaysia. Of these, 88.5% involved Muslim children, with the remaining 124 cases involving non-Muslim children. This tells us that despite growing awareness, child marriage remains a real and ongoing issue in Malaysia, one that demands stronger legal action, better education, and community-level change. Now let's look at how Malaysia addresses child marriage from a legal perspective. Malaysia has no single standardized minimum age for marriage. Instead, laws vary based on religion and ethnicity. For Muslims, girls can marry at 16 or even younger with Sharia court approval. For non-Muslims, the legal minimum is 18 years old, but girls aged 16 to 17 can marry with the chief minister's consent. And for indigenous communities, customary laws often take precedence with no stated minimum age at all. This fragmented system creates loopholes, allowing child marriage to persist under the guise of tradition or exception. Now, in 2020, the Malaysian government launched the National Strategy Plan in handling the cases of child marriage, spearheaded by then Deputy Prime Minister Dato Sri Dr. Wan Azizah. So this was a major milestone by our government actually. For the first time, Malaysia officially acknowledged child marriage as a multi-causal issue, requiring a whole government approach. This strategy actually targeted 6 key causes, which are poverty, lack of access to education and reproductive health, teenage pregnancy, social norms, weak law enforcement, and lack of coordination among agencies. It outlines 17 strategies and 58 action plans involving sectors from education to religion. What's critical is that it shifts the focus from punishing families to empowering our girls, educating our communities, and building protective systems for them. But even with this strong framework, I believe implementation must remain consistent, especially as political priorities shift over time. Now, please allow me, I shall pass over the presentation to my friend Rim. Thank you very much.
Okay, before we dive into data and details, let's take a moment to recognize that child marriage doesn't just happen, it's happening because of powerful underlying factors. Child marriage is a complex issue rooted in social, culture, and economical structures. It's not caused by only one factor, it's caused by a combination of many factors, includes poverty, poor education, gender inequality, and also poor legislations. Let's look at the 4 major root causes: poverty, culture, education, and conflict. There are still families, poor families, who find girls' marriage is like a survival strategy, and also some cultures who promote early marriage. Girls who drop out schools will increase the likelihood of early marriage, and also from conflict, instability, and violence, heightens vulnerability, pushing for early marriage. Next, we will explore how child marriage impacts not just individuals, but also communities, families, and also the entire society. Child marriage affects every part of a young person's life, including health impacts such as maternity health consequences, educational impact, social and psychological impact like stress and trauma, economical impact due to the lack of many jobs, and also it violates human rights. Looking deeper, it also affects cause other things like domestic violence and gender inequality. Child marriage hinders multiple SDGs, including SDG 1, no poverty, SDG 3, good health and well-being, SDG 4, quality education, SDG 5, gender equality, and SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. This image actually it affects and it shows the painful truth that behind every girl and every bridal dress, there is a girl who should be in school studying, dreaming, and playing. Child marriage affects every part of a young person's life. It causes psychological trauma, depression, anxiety, and PTSD, maternal malnutrition, iron deficiency anemia, and poor growth, increased exposure to HIV, low birth weight, vaccine delivery, and neonatal death. As we know, early marriage affects girls more severely, but also boys are not separated from that. It affects them also, and it increases the number of dropping off schools, and it shoulders and increase their responsibilities, financial burden to manage hospitals, and also lose of their childhood. By ending child marriage, the society will reduce the fertility population growth rates by about 1/10, and also increase labor market earnings and productivity for women and for nations. And also it will save about 100 billion globally per year by reducing the and severe malnutrition among young children. And also it will generate more than 500 billion benefits annually each year. Now let's take a look about the barriers and also the solutions for this problem.
Moving forward, child marriage is not just a legal issue. It's a social, cultural, and economic problem that affects millions of girls worldwide. Let's look at some of the global or local challenges that make it hard to end this harmful practice. Globally, poverty and economic insecurity are major drivers. Families in low-income settings often see child marriage as a survival strategy. In conflict and crisis zones, early marriage is viewed as a form of protection. Gender inequality, it continues to limit girls' roles to wives and mothers. Many girls lack access to education, and even where laws exist, they are poorly enforced due to corruption and or lack of political will. I will move on to the Malaysia challenges and barriers. In Malaysia, we face some challenges, unique challenges. Firstly, the dual legal system, Sharia and civil law. creates inconsistencies in the marriage age. Secondly, early marriage age is sometimes seen as a way to protect family honor, especially in cases of teenage pregnancy. The Sharia law is under state authority, making it harder to implement a standard national law. Lastly, implementation of existing plans is slow and public awareness remains low in many communities. So what can be done? First, legal reform is critical. Countries must eliminate loopholes and set minimum marriage age to 18 without any exceptions. Community engagement is also essential. Working with religious leaders, parents, and even boys to shift social norms. Empowering girls through education, cash incentives, and safe spaces help them build a better future. And finally, we need a multi-sectoral approach involving health, education, legal, and welfare systems working together in coordination. Here's a more action: how to end child marriage. Raise the marriage age to 18 with no any exceptions. Provide sex educations to create awareness about harmful impacts of this child marriage. Empower both boys and girls to speak up for their rights. Shape public attitudes through campaigns and education. Close legal loopholes and protect children in vulnerable situations like rape cases. What about solutions in Malaysia? Standardizing the marriage age to under 18 under all laws in Malaysia. This includes civil law, Sharia law, and customary laws. Secondly, collaborating with state religious leaders, implementing stronger policies and speeding up the national strategy plan, running nationwide awareness campaigns, strengthening education, especially in rural areas, ensuring girls stay in school through scholarships, transport support, and school safety can drastically reduce the risk of early marriage. Offering safe shelters, counseling, and economic supports for vulnerable girls. Engaging community and religious leaders, long-term change is only possible when a community is involved. These leaders can be powerful allies in reshaping social norms. Thank you everyone for watching. I will now pass it to my classmate, Dr. Hanis.
Deserve to grow up free, safe, and full of dreams, not bound by forced marriage. Together, with love and determination, we will build a world where childhood is cherished and every child has freedom to shape their destiny. With that, we would like to present you a video that represents our voice as a message to the world.
Every year, 12 million girls are married before the age of 18, facing one girl in 2.5 seconds.
Child marriage is a violation of human rights. It robs children of their education, health, and future.
In some regions, girls is having several households to manage, although men much older than them.
Pregnancy, childhood complications are the leading cause of death among girls aged 15 to 19 years old worldwide. Just let girls be girls and boys be boys. This real manhood is about protecting, not hurting. It's about supporting, not sacrificing. And for each girl, we deserve not child. I say no to child marriage. I say yes to education, empowerment, and production.
Palestinian years are 5 times more likely to die in childbirth than women in their 20s.
Child marriage often ends a girl's education, limiting her future opportunity and also lasting poverty. We should end child marriage and empower girls right now.
Without education, girls are more vulnerable to abuse and less likely to participate in decision making.
The World Health Organization emphasizes the need for comprehensive strategies to end child marriage.
This includes enforcing laws, promoting education, and empowering girls to make informed choices.
Communities must cherish harmful traditions and support girls' right to health and education.
Together, we can end child marriage and ensure a great future for all children.
Ending child marriage is not just about changing laws, it's about changing mindsets. Cultural shifts take time, but they start with awareness.
Men and boys also play a vital role. By standing up against harmful practice, we protect the rights of the daughter, sister, and peer.
Every voice matters. When communities unite to protect children, they create safer spaces where girls can dream, learn, and survive.
To fight against child marriage starts with us, at home, in schools, and across every generation. Change begins with awareness and action.
Let's speak up. Let's educate. Let's act. Together, we can break the cycle of child marriages and create a world where every child is free.
Okay, now we have come to the end. Thank you everyone for your attention given. As an appreciation, we would like to distribute an envelope and some